Well, how unlucky of Hillary, because she's missing. We decided this before you guys got here. This is our last week of shorts.
Forever.
I already thought that was I thought we knew that already.
We had one more week.
One more. Yeah.
And we watched these shorts this week.
You didn't like them?
I like them, but
they were funny.
We said, do we need to do this anymore, these shorts?
More like I said that. I said, do we need
Victoria said, do we need to do this anymore? Do we need to do these shorts?
Yeah, and Dan was like,
so I was like, all right,
go watch them. No.
I'll look and see if there's anything noteworthy in the one last week that we had. No, there's nothing noteworthy. It's Donald Shorts.
Oh, okay.
We know the deal with Donald Shorts.
Poor Donald always gets passed up.
He gets his shit beat in for like
Donald Shorts,
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is it. This is the last week of shorts.
If we were gonna end with any shorts, I'm happy it's
He's
these.
the man.
Yeah.
I personally liked the Goofy ones. I think the best of any other shorts we've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because he appears to be somewhat of an idiot, and
Wow.
I find that relatable.
Oddly charming, right? Yeah.
Great.
I love Goofy.
I mean, I like Goofy too.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it is Goofy Week here at We Watch Disney. We have 4 shorts, all from the Goofy How-To series. First up, it's how to play baseball, then how to swim, how to fish, and then finally how to play football.
Did he even really learn how to do any of those things by the end?
I don't think so.
We should all be expert fishermen, football players,
Baseball.
swimmers, by the end of this.
Got this.
Or at least try to be. So are we ready? Are we ready to get this one going?
Let's go.
All right. So first, since these shorts don't have a lot of background, I'm just going to do a little background on Goofy itself because we really never talked about like Goofy. Mm-hmm. So Goofy, full name G.G. Goofy Goof, also known as Dippy Dog, George G. Geef, Goofus D. Dog, Goofy G. Goof, and Super Goof.
Wow, that's a lot of
aliases for one.
He goes by a lot of names.
Goofy.
Yeah.
He is a tall, anthropomorphic dog, close friends of Mickey and Donald, and the father of Max Goof. Normally he's characterized as hopelessly clumsy and dim-witted, though sometimes he's kind of clever with his own, intuitive way, with his own eccentric nature.
Alex is sitting there going, me too.
He's relatable. He's a man. He's a common man, yeah.
He is.
According to original voice actor Pinto Colvig, he was inspired by, and I'm quoting here, a grinning, half-baked village nitwit from his hometown, so this is a real person, of Jacksonville, Oregon, and based his mannerisms on a character he created named the Oregon Apple Knocker. So this is based on a real nimwit, apparently.
Wow. That guy is like, he lives in infamy.
He was nice to not name him.
I hope he knows who it is.
I'm sure he does.
Like, I hope that the guy who it's about knew.
You should get credit.
Yeah,
I wonder what made Goofy stick of all the names.
I don't know.
because they started him out. They started
yeah.
out as Dippy Dog, and then they made an adjustment somewhere down the line. But anyway, after a discussion with Walt and director Wilfred Jackson, it was decided that the character would be a new member of the expanding Mickey Mouse crew. Art Babbitt is credited for developing the character into what we would further know today, and he described him in a similar way, comparing him to a gullible good Samaritan, a half-wit this time,
wow,
and a good-natured hick, were the words I used to describe him. So
these are all so politically
they're
correct.
like they're kind of backhanded compliments, you know.
Yeah.
It's like he threw in good Samaritan, and then he followed up with a
that?
good-natured hick.
How do you say? How
like
do you say?
good-natured but hick.
Yeah.
A good Samaritan but all those nasty things.
How do you
wrong with being
say?
a hick.
How do you say backhanded compliment opposite?
Forward insult.
Yeah,
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Front-footed insult.
There you go. I think that might be it.
Okay.
If it's not, that's what
Front-footed
I'm gonna call it.
insults.
It's a
Yeah.
front-footed insult.
He would make his debut on May 27th, 1932 in Mickey's Review and would appear for us for the first time back in episode 2 in Ye Olden Days as the villain Dippy Dog. From there, he would appear alongside Mickey and Donald in trio shorts like we've already seen, like Lonesome Ghost and Clock Cleaners, those kind. His role would change here as Donald was the easily frustrated, grumpy one, Mickey the more gentle, laid-back one, so Goofy's role would turn into more, well, goofy, dopey,
Mickey,
comic relief.
Wait, Mickey, gentle, laid back. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, like not really like being. He's just kind of the straight man, I guess you would
I
say.
don't know.
In this
Mickey's
trio.
kind of a douche to me, but all right.
But yeah, Goofy's the one that's the comic relief. He's constantly getting tangled up and beat up and getting knocked out. So, as Goofy's popularity grew within Disney, they tried to test out other ways to showcase him. He first received his solo cartoon in 1939 called Goofy and Wilbur. I'm upset this is not on Disney Plus because it's where his pet grasshopper Wilbur would help him fish.
Damn it.
And
I
now we
wanted
just got
to
a
see
how-to
that.
short of how to fish.
Would help him fish. Like,
The grasshopper would help
You
him
heard
fish.
it.
As the bait, right? That's what I thought too.
like, wait.
So you just hook this on my back here.
Yeah, I'll just swim.
Yeah. From here, animator Jack Kinney would take over the Goofy cartoons with a second short called Goofy's Glider. His Goofy shorts would be more fast-paced and chaotic, similar to what's now being created at Warner Brothers and MGM. Think like the Looney Tunes shorts and like Tom and Jerry. Kinney, when studying Goofy, noticed he was long and lean, and as a result, he can move him and put him into like crazy poses that would be funny. He then had the idea of placing Goofy in how-to shorts, in which Goofy would demonstrate, albeit poorly, how to like perform certain activities in sports. Fast forward to episode 15 of the We Watch Disney podcast. The first how-to short would appear in a movie, The Reluctant Dragon. The short was How to Ride a Horse, and this was done to establish the tone and style of these how-to shorts, familiarizing them with the audience. Well, there's only one problem. In 1937, Pinto Colvig, the original voice of Goofy, has a falling out with Disney.
Oh.
He leaves the studio altogether, and as a result, leaves Goofy without a voice.
It's like when Goofy storms out of the photo place in a Goofy movie.
Exactly like that.
Except he gets fired.
Yeah, he got fired from that job. But, so without a voice, the solution that they came up with is that they were just going to use whatever archive audio that they have from Pinto Colvig in their library, and they were going to use voice artist Danny Webb to record some new dialogue, and most importantly, pair the shorts with a narrator to do 90% of the talking, while Goofy is just on screen performing, and, so you don't have to worry about him saying how to swim and stuff like that. The narrator...
How would Goofy say that?
Well, I'm just saying, you don't even have to worry about that.
No, I'm just saying, how would it sound?
Well, I don't do the Goofy voice,
Like
right?
Pinto Govig, or whatever the hell his name was.
What do you want me to say?
How would Goofy describe fishing?
Oh, that's...
How would Goofy describe how baseball is played?
He just wants to do a stupid sound. Just do it.
No, I'm trying to figure out how he would say that. Because he's a hick.
How would Goofy describe drinking this soda in front of you right now? What would he say?
I have no idea.
How do you drink a soda?
I don't know!
Okay. Anyway, that narrator would be John McLeish, and he was chosen due to his deep voice and his love to recite Shakespeare.
Oh,
And
Wait, his love of Shakespeare?
his love of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
He's an employee of Walt Disney. Colvig would ultimately return in 1941, just before these shorts came out, and would resume the voice of Goofy until 1967. So in the end, he's back. He does the voice going forward, but they still have these shorts with the narrator that they're doing. John McLeish began at Disney initially as a writer for 2 years. He had some brief voice roles in Pinocchio and Dumbo. When they started coming up with the how-to shorts, they quickly realized that he had an educated, sophisticated-sounding voice, and it would be perfect to kind of like counter what Goofy's doing.
yeah. He sounds a little pretentious.
A little bit. That's kind of what he's going for, I guess.
Yeah.
He was apparently a very serious and dignified person, and the staff decided not to explain to him exactly what these shorts were going to be.
Oh.
So that he could like keep the similar like nature of like an actual educational how-to video,
Okay.
not realizing I guess until they came out like he was bamboozled and like Goofy is making a
Wow.
fool of himself in these shorts.
Poor guy.
Right.
That's great.
He was bamboozled.
From all the years until now, Goofy has certainly slowed down, and he hasn't slowed down in terms of popularity. If anything, he's probably grown more. He's probably one of the more lovable ones. I would say maybe outside of like Mickey, he might be the second one in terms of popularity.
I like Goofy.
Donald's the only one I could think of maybe who might be more popular than Goofy, but he's definitely. I mean, in the parks, he's
very popular.
everywhere. We're talking Barnstormer,
Yeah.
Goofy's Fly School in California. He's the conductor, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Stage manager Goofy, Mickey's PhilharMagic, meet and greet spot in all 4 parks in Disney World, so he's everywhere. He's got the Goofy's Candy in Disney Springs too. So.
Look, I've got to pull up the curtain.
Film and TV wise, he had 2 movies of his own, a Goofy movie and an extremely Goofy movie.
Those are such good movies.
I love those
I love
movies.
the Goofy movie.
I don't know if I ever saw the
Oh, you
second extremely.
I don't think I've seen the second one either.
The second one's
actually.
not bad. It's not as good as the first one, but it's not bad.
I like the second
Did
one.
Did that one come out in theaters or was that direct to DVD?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's Max going. I mean, we'll get
He goes to
eventually.
college.
He goes to
Oh, okay.
college and he's into like skateboarding, and they've got like it's like
I
it might
did
actually
see
The
that,
competition.
actually. Now that you're
Did
saying that, it
Goofy
sounds
like
familiar.
accidentally
Yeah,
enter
yeah.
the competition?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the second one.
Okay. Oh, I've seen that
it's
one
like
too.
X
then.
Games or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
His own TV show he would have, Goof Troop, which was in the 90s, and he would have cameos over the years in Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Mm-hmm.
What was his cameo in The Little Mermaid?
It's not like obvious, but when King Triton is speaking to like everyone in the crowd in like the bottom left-hand corner, you could see Goofy, Donald, and Mickey sitting there like watching. Yeah.
Wait, isn't that when Sebastian's putting on his concert?
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I know it's
the beginning.
Okay, so it's Sebastian, not King Triton? I'm going off memory here.
Yeah, no, it's when Sebastian's like prepping the band.
Okay, so yeah, but they're there. They're sitting there.
Oh,
you see like
cool.
their profile, the back of them, looking for them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. His how-to shorts that we're talking about today, 11 of them in total, which I thought that was surprising. I thought there were way more than 11 altogether.
I don't know.
But the most recent one came in 2021, appropriately titled How to Wear a Mask. To put it simple, you can make the argument... to put it simple in this short, he's teaching social distancing and how to properly wear a mask. And I don't think a lot of people saw it. To put it simple, you can make the argument like... What?
And he goes, I don't think a lot of people saw it.
No.
It definitely didn't.
Did not
but
get a lot of play.
Would it be like it was, or is he actually showing people how to do it?
I don't know, I didn't watch it.
Because, they took like a serious matter then at the time. I'm curious if they joked around on it.
Man, if I knew it...
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
If I knew that we were doing shorts, I would have threw that in there also. We could review
We can throw that in front of like a movie that came out in 2020.
We'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, in 2020.
Oh my god, by that point, the pandemic will be like actually like history.
It's gonna be in books.
They're like, you remember that back in the day?
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
That will be fun.
Gotta use our old ones. Remember back in our time?
Yeah.
I hope
Goofy showed us how to wear masks.
I hope we're still doing this in like our 70s, old as fuck.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're 70, but we're talking about
by the time
2018.
By the time we're that old, we could probably like get way more out because we'll be retired.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
nothing to do.
Well, nothing to do with it. They're like, these guys again?
Yeah.
Oh, they're still alive?
Alive and
They
kicking.
still are talking about Disney? What the fuck?
Disney's closed for 30 years.
Yeah. Oh my god.
All right. The first short, How to Play Baseball. So, even with the preview and with How to Ride a Horse that was in The Reluctant Dragon, this is credited as the first Goofy how-to short. And ironically enough, the first ever how-to short makes its debut outside of the Disney realm. It's not even in a Disney movie production that it shows up. It would appear before the 1942 film The Pride of the Yankees by Samuel Goldwyn, which is about Lou Gehrig and his life and leading up to him being diagnosed with his illness and retiring.
I feel like I saw that.
You probably did. Your dad definitely showed you.
Yeah.
I feel like every dad has seen this
Does it
movie.
end with him making a speech?
Yep, the
I've
famous
seen it.
speech. Today I consider myself... Yeah.
I've seen it.
Well, after Bambi came out in 1942, Samuel Goldwyn, the person who made The Pride of the Yankees, would go on to write a tribute to Bambi in The Hollywood Reporter, praising it and saying how much he loved it. Walt would then be showed this by his staff, prompting him to write a letter back to Sam, thanking him for the kind words and admitting that he had tears in his eyes when he read it.
Wow.
A sort of friendship between the two developed, and Samuel would ask the studio if they could create a short to air before the film that was set to premiere in 12 weeks. And Walt, having just the utmost confidence in his staff and working them to the grind, he said, yeah, sure, we can do that. 12 weeks, no problem.
You got it.
And it was finished in time, and it aired right before The Pride of the Yankees, a tribute to, well, like I said this already, a tribute to the Yankees legend Lou Gehrig. How to Play Baseball, released September 4th, 1942, rated TVG, and has a runtime on Disney Plus of 8 minutes and 22 seconds. Directed by Jack Kinney, animation by Les Clark, Mark Davis, Hugh Frazier, Ollie Johnson, Ward Camperell, Milton Neal, John Sibley, and Bill Titla. Titla. Voice work by Pinto Colvig and John McLeish. They're the voices in all these shorts, except one at the end, but we'll get to that. And we kick off. Baseball, the great American game, the national pastime of millions, both young and old. Our narrator starts out by explaining how the game is played, going over the equipment used, gloves, bats, cleats, and...
Okay, but wait, but they talk about like the uniforms being like all loose and stuff, and I was like,
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I
There's
saw the uniform and I was like, is he wearing a firefighter outfit? Like,
No, that was swimming.
Oh, that was a swimming.
That was
Sorry,
amazing.
There's a lot in this short that isn't really the case anymore, but whatever. I think actually out of the four, this one at least tries the best to explain the game a little bit.
This was my favorite.
This was your
Really?
favorite?
Yeah, I really like this one.
too.
okay.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, what about it? What's his favorite?
Oh, well, I played baseball growing up, so listening to like the funny ways that they describe the pitching, how they came up with the team names was hilarious. I'm like,
Hurler.
yeah, well, the team names, yeah, they go by the kind of socks they wore.
Oh yeah.
God, there's a Goofy How to Stay at Home.
Yes.
Oh, pair it up with How to Wear a Mask?
I don't know. I remember seeing it when we were watching this morning, and I forgot about it, and I just looked it up on Disney Plus, but I can't get it to load to see anything. But I might actually watch that later.
on this.
Sorry. Okay, continue.
He goes over what the ball, the bat, the mitt are made of before describing what the field looks like to the players.
They look very uncomfortable. The shoes, the cleats have nuts
have, like,
and bolts
springs
in
in
them.
them, yeah.
I don't know.
Game is played with 9 players in the field and one of the other team at bat. We then see, through use of dotted lines, an explanation of how every position moves once the ball is hit, and zigzagging all over the place, leaving a mess of a visual. Next, we go over the player. The uniform, like you said, Victoria, is loose-fitting to allow freedom of movement. I can tell you that's a lie today.
Oh, I know.
Because, yeah, baseball pants are incredibly tight.
Yep. They show off
And they're
that
very,
donk.
yeah, well, that's what we're going for. So,
Just as a fashion show.
yeah. Also, the jersey's tucked in, so that's not loose either. Can't
Right.
Yeah. He also says, like you mentioned, Michael, the socks are what the teams are named after, which is true, kind of, but not really, because there's only 2 teams with names after socks.
White Sox, Red Sox.
There you go. Good job. And they're not even white. They're black
Yeah.
socks. So they're liars.
Yeah.
Liar, pants over.
Damn it.
The pitcher or the hurler.
Wait, I just want to point out too. None of the batters wore helmets.
No helmets in
Well, they
this.
didn't have helmets back then.
That's true. He's
I
right.
mean, like I'm sure created helmets. Do you mean
Much
like,
later.
No,
Much
yeah.
later, they had leather helmets
Yeah.
then, which was weird.
Yeah,
When
like
you go
in
back-
A League of Their Own. They
Yeah.
didn't wear. Did they wear helmets in that movie?
Did
No,
they?
no,
No,
they did not.
yeah.
Yeah, if you go back
Yeah,
and
they
watch
did-
footage
yeah.
from the 40s, there's no helmets.
There's no helmets.
But I mean, like
They didn't have gloves like they had.
like just in general in the world itself, they didn't have.
Oh, maybe
helmets.
war helmets.
Oh, yeah, I'm
For
sure helmets
military,
exist,
but-
but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
not in baseball, no.
Wow. Okay.
They're
I
like,
guess they
if you
didn't.
get hit in the head, too bad, so sad.
They didn't give a shit. They were like,
That's why when he got hit bean and he had the lump.
yeah.
No helmet.
That was my favorite
Damn.
part, actually. The pitcher, he says, is the most important person on the team.
I don't even know if that's.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think the pitcher is a very important person on the team, but I feel like the batters also are important too.
That's the other team.
Well,
In the
still,
field he's talking about. And I mean, I kind of agree. If you have a pitcher that can throw all strikes and strike them out, you don't need anything else.
Then you don't
Yeah.
need another team member. You just
Right.
need the pitcher.
Right?
Ow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The narrator talks about how necessary it is for the pitcher to have a limber and complex delivery in order to perform perfect pitching. And all while he's doing this, Goofy gets his limbs all tangled up. He contorts his body
Yeah.
into knots, and he just kind of...
You played softball.
I did.
Yeah. So you. Oh.
This is the only sport I understand.
Fast pitch or... Like in...
No, it was like a little league.
Oh.
And I did like, what's that travel thing?
She breaks her,
Williamsport
she
a couple
breaks her
years.
leg.
I broke my leg in 8th grade,
Really?
sliding into home.
She didn't know how to slide.
I slid. No, I knew how to slide, but I just did it
This is was
at a
when
bad angle.
this is when the catchers was allowed to block the plate.
Yeah,
Oh, you
and
can't
I
do that
slid
anymore.
into her leg and broke my leg, and then I never wanted to play.
I got hit in the face with a line drive when I was pitching. And, like, I think
Yeah,
it
that-
permanently crooked my nose.
Yeah.
Damn.
It broke his nose, and I know this only because I stare at his face every day. His nose is crooked.
Yeah. A little bit. A little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
You have to really look though.
Yeah.
I didn't want to pitch. I couldn't pitch.
So then how'd you get stuck pitching?
He was the only one that could throw the
I was
pitch.
still playing in a league after all my friends basically stopped playing. I did it for one more year because I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got saddled up on a team which had, like, nobody who could play baseball. They were all very... So, like, not to brag, but I was the best one on the team, so, like, they naturally just assume, oh, well, he should pitch. Because nobody else on the team could
That
pitch.
doesn't actually make any sense.
It
though.
doesn't, but that was the logic. Well, nobody else can pitch.
That
Can you
was the,
pitch?
that literally was the logic.
Yeah,
back in the
so I
day.
was like,
It's
all
oh,
right.
no one else can. He can
But
throw it at
Well,
least.
also in Little League, I feel like they're like, well, whatever.
Yeah, but I couldn't throw a curve. I couldn't throw anything other than fastball. So then one of them just got ripped like right back into my face, and I just dropped to the ground. Yeah,
So I'm assuming it's broken.
I didn't go to the hospital or anything.
It was broken.
But-
I've heard about the bruising, and they were like, "Yeah, his whole face was bruised and everything." And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
"So your nose was broken?"
That was broken.
I broke my mom's nose.
Really?
But we were.
On purpose?
Yes.
Oh.
No, it wasn't
Poor
on purpose.
Joanne.
It was totally
It
on
was
purpose.
when I first started playing softball, and my dad always was like, "You have a sidearm," because I would throw like this instead of like this. So my dad like gave my mom this like responsibility to help to throw and have a catch with me, basically. So my mom's like, "Try this, try this, try this." So I'm trying all these things, and I throw the ball so perfectly. I didn't realize she had bent down to help Jillian with something.
She wasn't paying attention.
And she pops up and just,
Oh no.
and she broke her nose.
Poor Joanne.
Yeah, and she went to the hospital and they had to like swing one of those hammer things to put it in the right spot.
Oh.
And like, it was this whole big thing. And my mom, I was like, "I'm so sorry." And I was crying and she was like, "It's okay, that was like the best throw." She's
So
like, "That was
supportive.
perfect."
Sounds like Joanne.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Honestly.
it was, I felt so terrible about it.
My grandpa knocked my dad's front teeth out
Oof.
when he was a kid,
Jesus
but they were
Christ.
his permanent teeth.
With a ball?
Yeah,
Oh,
his
God.
4 front top teeth, and my poor dad has a bridge. He's had it like his whole life, and so he threw the ball because he was throwing underhand, and my dad was like, "No, throw overhand." And so my grandpa was like, "All right," so he threw it overhand and knocked him right in the face
Ooh.
and knocked his teeth out on the lawn. And his
On the lawn?
mom, like my grandpa's mom. And my grandma and like his mom, like all the grandmas and everybody were out running around looking for the teeth, and it was bad.
Nice little scavenger.
He had to have surgery.
To knock out 4 teeth?
Yeah,
It must
like
have been a
adult
hard
teeth.
throw.
Yeah, like adult teeth too. Yeah, my grandpa felt.
It's not even like none were chipped, like they were all just
nope,
in
they
the
were
lawn.
just busted.
Damn.
You bust.
Poor Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the opposing team.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, moving on. On the opposing team is the batter. By the way, everybody in this short is Goofy. So it's
Yeah.
Goofy
Okay, that's what I
pitching
thought.
to Goofy to a field of Goofies.
But that was the same in the football, no?
Yeah.
Right?
In the football one too, I
Yeah.
assume it's a stadium full of Goofies.
Yeah.
The narrator's probably also a
There's
Goofy.
so many
Goofy.
goofies.
They're everywhere. The batter takes dirt from home plate and dirties up his whole uniform before stepping in. The narrator then goes over all the different type of pitches that a pitcher can throw: curves and breaks, change-ups, spinners, spitballs, which are not allowed, and most common pitch, the fastball, also known as a speedball.
Did you say spitballs are not
Yeah.
allowed?
You cannot spit on the ball.
Why?
You can lick your
And the
hands.
ball cannot spit on you.
That too.
Why can't you spit on the ball?
It's considered doctoring the ball
Substance,
up
yeah.
and
To make it move
Yeah.
in a particular...
Oh, that's so
But then shouldn't the
stupid.
same argument apply to like pine tar on a bat?
that's to get it to hold on to the bat. I guess they don't want people letting
To
go
hold
of
on
the
to
bat.
the yeah, so you have to hold on to the ball to throw it.
They also don't want batters letting go of the bat and flying into the sands and like killing someone.
They have nets.
Now they do, yeah.
That's how me and Samantha became friends. Actually, that's how we
They threw
became
bats at each
enemies.
other.
No. When I had this bad habit of I would just throw the
Oh,
bat.
me too. Me too.
Oh, me too. Yeah, yeah.
And Samantha was the catcher on the other team. I threw the bat at her. She was crying. It hurt her. And then the next year, like a couple months later, she was in my 5th grade class, and she said she hated me. And then she was like, "I can't hate this girl. She's too nice."
Aw.
That's so funny. I used to have that same problem with Lily because I used to always fling the bat against the backstop and like people would.
Yeah.
Like, jump out of the
you
way.
got in
They'd be
trouble
like,
for that.
"Yeah, I've got I."
You get thrown out.
Yeah,
now.
the umpire will.
Like,
You
get a warning and then
yeah,
you're
they
out.
give you a warning.
He gave
They're
me
like,
a warning,
"Warning."
and then I did it again, and not realizing it, and that was it.
I feel like it's just one of those things where you're just so excited you hit the ball.
That's
and you
exactly
have
what
to
it is.
You want to run? You're like,
You're like, oh shit, let me
The,
get
like,
rid of this bat.
The adrenaline kicks in, and you
Yeah.
just like throw it. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. So now that we've been taught the game of baseball and we all know how to play, they drop us into the World Series, Game 7.
Game 7.
Game 7 of the World Series.
All tied up.
Our team is the Blue Sox, apparently. And they're 1 out away from being defeated by the Gray Sox. So we want
Damn.
to cheer on the Blue Sox here.
Blue, blue, blue.
The first batter for the Gray Sox hits a ground ball. Wait, that can't be right. Isn't the Blue Sox the ones that are batting?
I literally don't
The
know.
blue was pitching, right?
So we're cheering the Gray Sox then.
The hitters?
The ones that were in red. So that was confusing too. They were in red, but they had Gray Sox.
The whole thing was confusing.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
Okay. First batter for the Gray Sox hits a ground ball down the line, causing Goofy to run to first and trip over a bunch of bats. And usually there are no bats on the field, I'll just say, so get your shit together, bat boy. Before landing on first base safely. Our pitcher is a bit perturbed, and as a result...
Perturbed?
Is that not the word?
Perturbed.
Perturbed? Oh, I did write perturbed. I read it perturbed. Sometimes my writing's too smart for my mouth. I write words I can't pronounce. As a result, The pitcher takes a bite out of the baseball as a snack.
Yum.
I don't know why he did that. The runner on first dances and distracts a pitcher who attempts to pick him off. The runner is caught in the old pickle. If he's tagged, the game's over and that's it. He runs back and forth, avoiding tags from the other team. The ball is dropped, and he slides into second base safely.
Which was weird because he was heading back to first on the pictures. Like, if you watch it, it looked like he was running back to first.
In all these shorts, there's a lot of continuity issues.
Like, he was literally running back to first. He was running to the right,
Yeah.
which, if you're in a rundown, it's going back to first.
Yeah, he's going the wrong way. But he's safe at second.
Got confused.
The pitcher, still distracted, throws to the batter, next one that's up, and he beans him right in the head. He just knocks him out completely.
Your favorite.
Goofy is down seeing stars before collecting himself and going to first base. So we got runners on first and second with 2 outs. Pitcher is sweating bullets nervously and delivers the next pitch. Next batter decides to bunt. I don't know why you do that with 2 outs left, down by 3 in the World Series. That seems pretty stupid, but it ends up working out. He makes it to first. The other 2 batters advance, so it's bases loaded with 2 outs, Game 7 of the World Series.
Woo.
I didn't know they were down by a grand slam either.
They were down by 3. It was 3-0 going into the last game. Pitcher's sweating now. The batter's sweating. I'm sweating. The audience is sweating. Everybody's sweating. The narrator says it's up to the pitcher. $500,000 in the World Series hangs on this pitch.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because I don't think they give money for winning the World Series, do they?
Get bonuses.
I think they meant bets.
Oh, bets?
Oh, that maybe.
Gambling?
I thought
Yeah.
you get
Illegal gambling?
Yeah.
I thought you get bonuses for winning like
$500,000?
$500 million.
$500,000.
Yeah. Oh, well, back in the day, that's a lot.
I never
but
heard that. Oh, okay. Well,
I know.
$500,000.
I know if you win like the Super Bowl, they get bonuses.
Well, $500,000 is on this pitch.
That's a lot. Maybe it's per team.
They gotta split it up.
Yeah, maybe.
That's like nothing.
That would make sense then.
Why would the losing team get it?
Not the losing team. No, the whole team would split the $500,000.
Oh.
I thought it was betting.
It could be that too.
I thought it was illegal gambling.
I don't know what's legal anymore.
All right, so here's where it gets a little crazy. The pitcher delivers, and the batter smashes the ball deep to center field.
Sky high.
The ball is torn apart, and it unravels. And by the time it falls to the ground, all the yarn lands on the center fielder, which this is apparently not a catch.
Shouldn't it be an out, right?
I don't know what
Didn't hit the
fuck
ground.
It was so weird, and then they continued to try to throw it around.
He wraps it.
He tries to wrap it as a ball.
The runners are rounding the bases, so he takes the time to make a ball out of the yarn.
It was so weird.
And he tries to throw the ball in, but it unravels again, and it's still tangled around him. So he picks it up like it's a tube around him.
Well, it's just the next player, right?
What's that?
Who we
It's
threw
the
it
next
into.
Goofy.
It's the
The
center
outfield-
fielder.
No, he threw it in.
Oh, it went to somebody.
I
think
thought
to,
he threw it in.
To like the cutoff man,
Oh, and the cutoff man, it just
and it
on
raveled
him?
around him.
Jesus Christ.
Well, he
I thought he
decides.
threw it into home, and then that's who it unraveled on.
No, because they said it was a foot chase to
I'm
home.
glad you guys remember this better than I do. I literally have no idea.
I thought it was
It was
funny.
just, I was like, what the hell? This is bizarre.
Yeah, so the fielder with the ball of yarn wrapped around his waist sprints for home plate.
Mm-hmm.
The winning run from third sprints home to last plate. The two are going to meet at home plate, and they get there at the same time.
And then the umpire gets to call it.
And what does he call him?
Oh!
He says he's out.
Yeah.
Good call.
No,
I didn't
good
agree.
call.
I thought it was a bad call.
Why is that a good call?
Runner always has to beat the fielder.
There's no
The
ball.
ball is
It's around
a
him.
pile of yarn.
Well, then the play's dead anyway.
It should be
And it would be a
play.
single.
Yeah,
it would
should
be. It literally would have been a single. Actually, it would have been an out because he's here catching the ball and it lands on his body. So,
I mean, we have nothing to go by because I don't think this has ever happened in
Good
real
call.
life. But the umpire calls him out. This causes the batter to get in a heated argument with the umpire.
But why did the fielder get in a heated argument too?
Both teams apparently are pissed off at
Like,
the
what? You
umpire.
called him out? What? You called me out?
Yeah.
So everybody's just arguing with the umpire. The umpire's arguing back, and the short ends with all three yelling at each other. The giant brawl breaks out, and the narrator wraps up the short by saying, "Free speech, that great American privilege, is thoroughly enjoyed by players and spectators alike. That's why the national sport will always be that good old American game of baseball."
Crazy.
That's how they ended this show.
I prefer a league of their own.
So funny.
I love that movie.
So, Michael, you said this was your favorite?
That was my favorite.
Okay.
Crying in baseball. Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan.
I think we should just watch A League of Our Own.
I just love that movie.
I like what's her name, Marla.
Marla Hooch.
Yep.
It had to
ain't
be
that right,
you.
baby?
Very nice.
I'm singing it, Nelson.
Oh God.
Next short is How to Swim.
I like this one the best.
This was your favorite? Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. You want to talk about it?
No.
Okay.
No.
In his attempt to demonstrate swimming, Goofy first has trouble undressing in a small locker room, but then manages to showcase diving and swimming techniques. That's the synopsis that they gave us. I could tell you were confused, like I was just jumping like
Yeah,
halfway
I was
through.
like, what do you
Like,
mean?
oh, wow, well, you just explained it.
Yeah, nothing happens in the first half. Released October 23rd, 1942, and rated TVG with a runtime on Disney Plus of 7 minutes and 48 seconds.
Damn.
Directed by Jack Kinney, animated by John Sibley, Emery Hawkins, and voice work by Pinto Colvig and John McLeish again. Our narrator opens up. Everyone should learn how to swim.
They should.
Perhaps no factor has contributed so greatly to the current popularity of swimming as has the sensible bathing suit. Alex, bathing suit, what was this? Describe it for everybody.
It looked like a firefighter uniform, but it was just a big t-shirt onesie.
It was. That's probably the best way to put it.
T-shirt onesie. It looks very heavy.
It does.
And, like,
Why would anyone want to swim in that?
I know, and it looks kind of like when you get wet, it's like that material that just like gets extra heavy.
It's really
Clamps
heavy.
onto
Yeah,
you.
and like, and so
clamps
you
on
just
you.
like sink and drown.
It's like it looks like a hospital nightgown attached between your legs.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking knee-length striped shirt, mid-calf length shorts, massive Goofy shoes to go swimming in.
Big ass feet.
The narrator says it should not be too daring, and he continues, yet bold enough to allow freedom of movement. Don't think that's what we're working with here, but that's what Goofy's got on. I imagine if he saw bathing suits today, his head would explode. This
He'd be like,
narrator.
What's
he'd be like,
that?
That's underwear.
Yeah, like especially a man's bathing suit, like just swim trunks or whatever the fuck you call them, swimsuit.
How do you think he would feel about a Speedo?
He clutches pearls and just his head explode.
Yeah.
Short circuit.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to practice the swimming movements one needs.
On our piano bench.
We're going to grab a piano bench, a stool, not even a bench.
A
just-
rolling piano stool.
we're going to lay belly down on the stool, and we're going to mimic rowing patterns with your arms and legs.
Row,
So-
row your boat.
I think it's safe to say this is how we all learned how to swim, right?
Oh yeah, of course, everybody.
Goofy, while mimicking swimming on his stool, ends up paddling himself onto the street and nearly gets hit by cars and trucks without even realizing it. The narrator goes over the windmill stroke, the Australian crawl, which I've never heard of that one, the side stroke, the breaststroke, and the back float. Only disadvantage to the back float is that you can't see where you're going, which causes Goofy to crash into his own bathroom. And I guess he had a fully filled tub for some reason, just
Sure.
like
Yeah.
hanging out.
Just in case, you know.
And he nearly drowned
Oh,
himself.
Is there emergencies?
Don't you?
Yeah, I've got to cool the house down with that cool water.
Alright.
Well, congratulations, everyone. We've mastered the theories of swimming, so we're going to take it to the beach.
Yeah.
We then see Goofy changing out of his regular clothes into his bathing suit, his long johns that he's got on.
Looks like a porter potty.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, a beach locker. You must learn how to change in a beach locker. And I'm like, that's a clock.
This is like
Standing up.
Who could even move in there?
this would be like trying to change like in the trunk of your car into your bathing suit. Kind of the same amount of space.
Yep.
So, obviously, Goofy has some trouble changing with little to no room, causing the locker to hop all around. He knocks it into all the other locker rooms. They all tip over. Presumably,
Domino
there are
effect.
people in there. They die. And
dead.
his locker ends up hopping into the ocean down to the bottom below. From there, Goofy steps out into like a giant air bubble.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really how this works. I don't think you just walk out into an air
That's
bubble.
how I go to the beach, but I don't know what you do.
That's how deep sea divers they get down there.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Giant air bubble.
Listen, there's nothing more relaxing than sitting at the bottom of the ocean.
In a giant air
That's the
bubble.
Titanic.
In a bubble that can pop at any time.
Fun fact, their pools and tubs are still full in the Titanic.
That's right.
That's awesome.
They are. They left the water running.
Oh no.
Goofy.
Oh no, you sucked my pedal.
He sets up his beach umbrella in his little air bubble, but it pokes a hole in it, causing it to slowly fill up with water as he's enjoying a snack. To the beach, he brought
Yeah, what the hell was that?
he brought like a whole turkey leg
Yeah, turkey leg.
and a lettuce sandwich. It was just green on
It
there.
looked like he was having like a whole picnic
Yeah.
at the beach.
The narrator warns about eating before going in the water to avoid cramps, so Goofy decides to read a magazine, and as he floats back to the surface, wouldn't you know it, he cramps up everywhere. His body twists
In
all
knots.
together in knots.
Never had
Neck
that happen.
as well.
I've never had a cramp in the water either. No.
Me neither.
It's a lie.
It's a myth.
They said an hour too. It was like
That's a long time.
It's a myth. Eat and go in the water. What can happen?
nothing. You just have to stay still
Yeah,
because your body floats.
that's right.
Water is greater. What they say? Water's heavier than your body weight or something.
Is your body's less
think-
dense than water, or something
Yeah.
like that? So you're a natural boat.
Yeah,
Something like
you're
that.
very buoyant.
That can't be true, right?
It
No,
is
it is.
100%
Really?
true.
Lay on your back and you'll float.
Yes.
So how do people drown?
They panic.
So if people just stayed calm, they wouldn't drown?
And well, they'll go under with waves, but if the surface is flat and you stayed calm and just laid backwards, you'll float.
Oh, I didn't
You don't even
know
have to
that.
kick. You can just lay like this and your whole upper half will float.
Yeah.
So anytime there's like a kid that doesn't know how to swim in like a pool, if he just stayed still, he'd
He
be
would
fine.
be fine.
Yeah,
And-
that's what that
Yep.
that swimming thing.
That they teach the babies.
Yeah, where they
Yeah.
When,
teach
you throw,
the
when they
babies.
throw the
fling 'em
babies
in.
in and the
They
babies
fling
go like
them
that
in
and
and
turn
they-
over.
They
Okay.
teach the baby to get on their back so that they're at least floating.
That's
Yeah.
a separate issue. That's wild to me that people just toss their babies into pools. And
I'm
just
all for that.
Yeah.
That
no,
sounds
it's-
horrible, though.
No,
How do you think you
I-
teach your kid to swim?
I think it's horrible, but I would rather my kid at least
Yeah.
know how to
Yeah,
jack
still.
off or get
But
anything.
but think about it this way, like usually if a kid, like, cause kids, like if they like when they're toddlers, right, like they're walking and like let's say they get in the pool, they're gonna crash into the pool, they fall in, so like they have to know
If
by
I fall in, what do I
like,
do?
what do I do
Okay, so,
instead of like I stepped in or someone placed me in, they need to know.
so hear me out on this next part. So
Also, it's instinctual.
why? What's the purpose of a lifeguard at a pool?
For people that panic.
Yeah.
They can't just tell them not to panic.
I see you drowning. Don't panic. Just float to the top.
Just a big voice. Remain calm.
Yeah.
But also,
And God
like,
forbid someone faints in the pool,
Yeah, like,
someone
there's-
gets kicked, or
there's
like
a lot of stuff.
Well, also like
that.
at the beach, like there's an undertow.
Well,
Yeah.
the beach I understand. I meant
Right.
like at a pool, like
At
in
a pool.
Disney.
Well,
like
I
the-
mean, you still need to have people watching, because if someone does start to drown, then they need to perform CPR.
it's to prevent-
Like a civilian's not supposed.
it's
to
a
perform
liability
CPR.
issue, really,
Yeah.
too. You're providing the pool, and my kid drowned in it. Now, guess what?
Yeah.
You're at fault because you provided the pool.
well, I think we should all just stay calm.
Stay calm and
Nobody-
float on your back.
Nobody will drown ever again.
Yeah.
Well, now we're going over diving. We see a line drawing of a perfect diving motion: the run, the crouch, and the launch from the diving board into a jackknife, the half gainer, the swan dive, and others. Now it's Goofy's turn with the line drawing. He starts out getting the technique down perfectly until his foot gets caught underneath the diving board cover, I guess. I don't know why you would have
The
this.
diving board rug.
Yeah, like why would you? Yeah.
Prevent slipping.
Oh, did a great job.
Slipping.
I'm joking. I don't think any of these have that,
No.
unless the older ones did, because I know the new ones have like sandpaper strip.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well,
They
this
might have. Maybe the old ones did have something like that.
Well, this diving board cover causes him to instead belly flop on the diving board, then land on his head before losing his bathing suit and falling into the pool. But then we see that there's actually no water in the pool, which is it's a crucial part of diving. You want water in the pool.
Was it to me, or did his like silhouette look like a Mr. Game and Watch type silhouette?
Oh, good one.
When,
yeah,
when he crashed through,
Yeah.
he kind of looked like a
Yeah.
Mr. Game and Watch type outline. It was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I couldn't help but notice there was no spot for his neck.
Yeah,
like-
exactly. That's what I was like. I was looking,
so
like,
like-
oh, it's all staggered.
His head went through, but not his neck. And it's just separated.
Oh God.
That's what I mean. Back at the beach now, it's surf bathing, I think is what the narrator calls it. Goofy grabs his tube, and the narrator just like kind of dips out from here on out. Now it's just like it's just like a physical joke from here on out. Goofy grabs his tube, and he tries to go diving into the ocean, but the ocean wave brings him all the way back to the beach, and his tube lands on like a ship
An anchor?
sticking
Yeah.
out of the ground at the beach.
He
I don't
gave him
know
a flat
why.
tire.
Yeah. It pops and deflates, and then the deflated tube gets caught on two poles sticking out of the ground, which turns him into like a slingshot. and launches Goofy way, way off into the distance to a remote island, apparently. And at this remote island, there are mermaid Goofies.
Oh yeah.
Mergoofs?
Mergoofs, goof maids,
Goof mates.
looking really fine.
Goofing all the time, right?
Yucking.
The narrator concludes, listen to this line. He says, as the settling sun slowly dips into the azure blue of the western sea, reluctantly we close on this tranquil scene with firm conviction that everybody should learn how to swim.
Yeah.
And while this is all going on, the tranquil scene is Goofy on a tiny island.
Slurping a Mai Tai and...
With goof mates.
Female mermaid versions of himself. I
Living his
guess he
best
learned how to
life.
swim. I don't really know. But that's the picture that we get to close this one out.
Well, fun fact, those are sirens, and they are going to drown him and then eat him. But it's fine.
Oh no.
They always
Yeah.
cut out the best part, like right at the end.
That's in the second part of the short.
How to survive.
We're not
How
watching.
to survive the mermaids. Yeah.
How to get
Toy.
off an island.
Toy, you like this one?
I did.
Explain yourself.
I like the goof mates.
I knew that was gonna
I like
be
the
it for you.
Goof
No, I don't know. I think it's funny, and I have like a fun memory of learning how to swim.
From this,
No.
Yeah, getting
Oh.
thrown into the water and rolling on your back, not the
I was like,
panic.
you learned how to swim from this.
No, the short reminds me of when I learned how to swim, which was at my Aunt Diane's house.
Well, this sounds like a story. Okay.
It's not really that big of a story. I just had fun because they had a pool and I didn't have a pool, and so my Aunt Diane would I would go in, right, and she would hold me like I was on my stomach.
So
and
she was the piano stool.
Yeah, and she was like, "Come on," and I would go crazy, and I would be like, and then I would just splash her, and she was like, "Great job," and whatever. I don't know. It's just a thing I
Oh,
remember.
that was actually a
Yeah.
very nice story. I thought it was going somewhere else.
No, it was fun.
Okay.
So that's why I like it because it reminds me of that.
All right. Well, I didn't like this next one. I'll just tell you right now.
Me neither.
This one was boring.
Yeah.
It was so boring. I don't remember it really at all.
Well, it's how to fish.
Oh yeah.
No.
I was like, what was the next one? Wasn't football yet.
No, I like that one actually.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, I
my
like the
second
football
favorite.
one.
Or close to my first, too.
Gelly, you're kind of our
Fisherman?
residential fisherman around here.
Uh-huh.
So you didn't like this one?
Not really.
I'm kind of relying on you for accuracy here because I don't really know a lot of this. Disney Plus tells us this is Goofy's demonstration of fishing is fouled up by his clumsy casting and fly fishing and problems with his boat.
Damn.
Release December 9th, 1942, rated TVG with a runtime on Disney Plus of 7 minutes and 39 seconds. Jack Kinney directs it again. Animation by Chester Cobb, Merle Cox, Don Lusk, Frank Oren, Wolfgang Reitherman, John Sewell, John Sibley, and Louis Terry. Voice work again, Pinto Colvig and John McLeish. Alright, we open up. Similar way with How to Ride a Horse from The Reluctant Dragon, where it's how to present it in the form of a book. And this is kind of what I always think when I think of the Goofy shorts. It's constantly flipping pages to
Right.
the next part, but we only got one of them that were like this. When to fish can be determined by the astrological signs of the zodiac. Any comments on that yet? You agree?
Remember
Disagree?
the Biskies?
How did he pronounce Pisces?
Oh, Piskies.
The pisses.
No,
the
it's
Pisces.
Pisces or something.
Pisces.
Pisces.
Yeah, it was Pisces.
Because he rhymed it with fishes. So
The
he said the
Pisces,
pisces.
fishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was
I was
talking
like-
about, and then
I was
Michael
like,
was like, what?
Pisces? Like,
I knew it. I only knew because Laura is a Pisces, and I know the symbol.
Me,
And
that's how I knew.
Yeah, and I was
Pisces.
like Pisces.
The stars and planets control all the tides of the Earth's waters. Hence, when Neptune enters the constellation of
Pisces.
or fishes, the cosmic vibrations create in the fishes an uncontrollable desire to bite.
Okay, but they're not like that.
You know what? When is Pisces?
It's like March.
That makes sense.
March is a good time. I was going to ask you.
To go fishing. I mean, March, April, that's the start of
Spring.
fishing season.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the other thing about that's interesting is so if you look at any old sailor kind of documentation, they did use the stars and
To know where the
zodiac.
fish would be.
Exactly, and
so-
seasons and stuff, and so they did
And
use
that
that,
kind of might be
Yeah.
You would.
and to chart where they were.
Okay, so I was-
that is not super inaccurate.
Is this still done today?
Probably.
I don't know.
Well, they just know now what time of year where
Yeah.
certain fish are and how deep they'll be.
They don't need to look at the
They don't
stars
need to
anymore.
look at the stars.
I mean, maybe some people like to keep it old school, but
I think they look at the water more
Yeah.
water temps and like the currents more
Yeah.
than anything.
Okay, well, this is off to a good start already. I thought this was all going to be bullshit. Next, we're going to observe the effect that fishing has on man. Goofy is peacefully reading in his den, surrounded by dead fish everywhere on the walls. So I can only assume he's an accomplished fisherman here.
Oh yeah.
He has a goldfish bowl next to him, that's got to be a little traumatizing for the goldfish, don't you think? There's just dead fish everywhere. Like, imagine living somewhere there's just dead humans all on the wall. That's kind of gross. Man,
that sounds fun.
yeah,
You ever been to a museum?
I guess that would be a museum, now wouldn't it?
I mean, you're absolutely right.
Very interesting.
Sheesh. Wow.
Man has an inner instinct to fish. This desire becomes acute only through, quote, bodily contact with the cosmic undulations of fishes. You feel that? You don't feel like an inner instinct
What?
to
I
fish?
have to touch a fish to fish?
Yeah, body contact, kind of does it.
Nah.
No? Okay.
I mean, when I smell the ocean, I kind of want to fish.
What does that mean
So-
anyway, that statement? Bodily contact with the cosmic undulations of fishes? What's cosmic undulations?
He grabbed the fish. I don't know.
I wrote that down to see if anyone could decipher
search
what that means.
that.
This is like when I write words down that I can't pronounce. I think I'm smarter than I am.
Okay, so undulation means the action of moving smoothly up and down.
Oh. So get a fish.
He's stroking the fish off.
This creates a desire to fish.
Oh, I know what
Or
they're saying.
like a wave-like movement of patterns.
Casting?
That's the wave-like moving. That's what, because when he reached back and grabbed the fish, and then he.
Well, also like the way a fish moves is technically undulating.
That's true too.
So it says
How it moves.
it's the locomotion. It's the type of motion characterized by wave-like movement patterns. So like the act to propel an animal forward. So like a snake or
I understand.
or like
what
a
you mean.
fish, the way they move is
Okay.
undulating.
I'm way too stupid for this short, clearly. All right.
It's okay.
This apparently creates fish fever, which causes Goofy to levitate from his chair and float to his fishing cabinet. You ever get fish fever? You ever get fish fever?
I mean, I have the urges to fish sometimes. So
You ever
maybe.
like float? Like
I never flew.
Kinda like when you smell
I mean,
a
that's
pie.
like when you smell a pie and you float
Yeah.
to the pie. But I get the whole
Wow.
gravitational movement.
my man Goofy can't help it. He's got to
Good
go
for you,
fishing.
Goof.
He's got to go fishing. He grabs
He's
his
a man.
fishing rod and he tests his casting skills. Now, all of us have seen Goofy movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is not the perfect cast.
No, it's not.
I was really hoping he was going to do the perfect
Yeah.
cast. And
Can
he
we
did
go
not.
back a second? Does
Sure.
the goldfish remind you of the goldfish from Pinocchio?
Cleo?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Like
But
when he had the angry face.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I also chalked it up to they didn't know how else to draw a goldfish except for this goldfish. So they just all the goldfish look like Cleo.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to go over the types of fish that there are. And by types, I mean just one. That's what fish we're concerned about. There's the mountain trout, which is an alert, intelligent creature, apparently. Rugged and strong and daring. Page turns. That's it. That's all we need to know about fish. Just that one fish. That's all we're catching today. Page turns, and now Goofy is going to show us his approach to the stream. Slip up quietly to a shrub or a bush, and don't let the fish see you coming.
Stupid.
There's only one problem. He's walking on top of trees, apparently, because he falls all the way to the ground. Have you only... Okay, I'll ask you. Have you only gone fishing on a boat, or you ever go, like...
Pier.
Pier too?
Huh?
Oh, okay. You can go out in the woods and, like, find a pond and just, like, cast.
Never like that's more of a freshwater
You
fishing.
didn't wear those, like, big boots.
The waders.
Stand in the water with the boots.
You ever stand in the
I've
middle of the
seen-
ocean and just grab a fish with your
Oh.
hand?
When I was
Or-
younger, I've seen. We used to go to the North Shore for thunderstorms and like watch the lightning and everything.
Oh,
Oh, that sounds
cool.
nice.
And ever since I seen the one guy and his waders out there and the lightning strike the water and almost nearly hits him, I was like,
Oh.
never gonna do that.
You never go out
That's
there with,
fair.
like, the giant spear and just, like...
I would do that actually. That would be kind of cool.
Like in
I
Castaway.
tried to be a
Yeah.
See
fishing.
this crazy person doing that.
The narrator explains that once the water has been disturbed, the fish can never be enticed to bite.
That's true.
That I even know. That I know. But just as he says this, we see a whole bunch of fish come to the surface and just, I guess, eat Goofy's clothes off his body.
They ate the bait on his hat. Right?
Okay, but his clothes were all
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he was in like his
under.
undershirt.
Huh.
His white beater, whatever you
Didn't
call
notice
it.
that.
It's undergarments.
Yeah. Turn the page, and now it's time to cast the lure. Is that right?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Select a spot from a tree. Oh no, select a spot free from overhanging trees and limbs. Goofy does an exaggerated cast that ends up getting caught on the tree above him, and as he reels himself in, he goes up in the air, and he like turns.
Himself into a slingshot.
Yeah,
I thought you
like
said that was fly fishing.
No, he got his head stuck on the big branch and then it pulled the other
the
part
visual
down.
that they were going for was like the tree was now fishing with him.
Yeah, he casted him,
Yeah, so
which was pretty spot on. The
The
tree had a
tree-
better cast.
the tree had a very good cast, and it flung him into like the stream, and Goofy's flopping around like a
Yes.
fish now. Now it's lake fishing, which is typically done in a boat. Goofy tries to cast again, but unknowing to him this time, his line gets caught on the underside engine of the boat. Now, I've been fishing with you, Michael. This happens, I feel like, all the time. It gets caught on the bottom of the boat, correct? Or gets tangled up with someone else's line
When you're
on the other side of
moving,
the boat?
yeah, when you're moving, when the boat's moving, yeah, it could get tangled.
That's why they say rods up.
Rods up.
That's fisherman term.
Okay.
Rods up, bitches.
But a lot of these boats, like some of the motors are like inwards, like so it's really hard to get the propeller. If you catch your propeller, that shit'll just go. Just continue
I
pulling the line
want to go
out.
fishing.
Do you?
Let's go.
You should go midnight fishing.
Midnight.
Alex,
oh
you want
my!
to go midnight fishing?
Alex would hate it.
I've been fishing with them once. Well,
Not the
Dan.
boat we went on. Oh my goodness.
Now, I will say the midnight fishing, you do catch a lot. That's definitely true.
that was fun.
So you do come away with a lot of fish,
We
but
should
it's
go.
also...
Hillary will never come.
Well, the thing is,
I'll
that
go, but I'm not gonna want to fish anything. I'll probably get nauseous.
it starts at
Fine.
midnight, too.
Yeah, and you get home at what?
I got
3:30?
home... No, I got home later than that. It was
No,
like
I mean
5.
the boat.
Oh, the boat gets back at like 3:30.
3:30.
I think I walked in the house at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't let you come to bed because you stunk.
It smelled like fish.
Like the bait.
yeah.
That was fun though.
Yeah, it was fun.
A lot
It
of
was a good
fish.
time. Yeah,
A lot of fish.
you get sick, though. It's rough
Oh.
out there.
Poor Tori.
But it's cool.
She was sick the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Poor Tori.
From probably right when we hit like really choppy waters.
I would
Yeah.
take Dramamine before I went.
Probably a good idea. But it is cool to just like look out into the ocean and you just see nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. It's just pitch
Yeah,
black everywhere.
sounds real cool.
That's why I can't wait to go on this cruise because something like
Actually, it is really neat. It like seeing the ocean like that. But then it makes me think of that noise, that TikTok audio. Yo.
that's fine.
You know?
If I ever heard that, that would be like in the
one
middle
in,
of the
like,
night.
yeah.
That'd be so cool.
The one, you know the one I'm talking about, Alex?
I don't know.
All right. Well, now I'm gonna pull it up so we all can be blessed with it. I love this one.
I know you do.
I love that too.
Oh, thieves and beggars.
Let me hear you hit that note.
No, I can't do that low.
How low can you go?
I don't know. Not that low though.
I never heard that before.
Really? We're on different sides of TikTok, I think.
Yeah, that's more of my side of TikTok.
Yeah.
So Goofy gets his lure, whatever, caught on the bottom of the boat. Thinking he's got a big catch, he tries desperately to reel it in.
Damn.
But he doesn't realize that he's reeling the engine. The engine gets detached from the boat, and it's running wild throughout the water, just
Kind of like a fish.
Kind of like a fish. It ends up cutting the boat in half, and the engine pulls Goofy all over the lake before washing up on shore, crashing into a tree. The narrator gets really excited here, and he tells Goofy that he's got it now. And
Don't let him get away.
so how does Goofy not let it get away? What does he do?
Smacks it.
He takes his rod and he just beats the shit
That's
out of the
about right.
engine.
You smack the big fish till it's dead.
Okay, fair. And the narrator concludes this short, and he says, "Truly, no pride is so justifiable as that of a successful
Can you
fisherman."
move your arm?
Michael, thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Inaccurate, but accurate.
I hate this one. I'm just gonna.
I
say it.
didn't like this one. I barely remember any of it, and I think it's so
As-
boring.
The person in this group that enjoys fishing the most, I couldn't get into this
Yeah.
one.
I thought this one was like really disjointed.
That's what it
terms of
was.
flow. It was like they were just they cover one fish, And then that's enough. We're just going to move on to something else. Yeah. Last one we got this week, it is How to Play Football. I think this one was actually my favorite.
This one was good too. I like this one.
You out there playing foosball with them gargantuans?
You remember at halftime when Bobby Boucher showed up and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl?
Football is for the devil.
Bobby, did they ever find that gorilla that escaped from the zoo and punch you in the eye?
No, mama.
The search continues.
The search continues.
Enjoy the foosball with your gargantuans.
He did a bunch of football movies, no? He did like The Longest Yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
You left me all alone here with Steve?
I gotta rewatch that. That's such a good movie.
It is a good movie.
This short tends to be regarded as the most popular and fan favorite of the how-to shorts, believe it or not.
I can see that because a lot of people like
Sorry.
football over baseball. Mm-hmm. So I can see that.
It's also a bit different in its presentation than the other ones in that this one has a different narrator than we've heard in the other three.
Right.
And rather than trying to explain the rules and how the game is played, it instead sort of shows you a game of football and explains to the viewer as you're watching it what you're seeing.
Except not really.
Yeah, but it was like...
I mean, a lot of this was accurate.
Was it though?
Kinda.
I think
Okay.
Funny, but accurate.
I think
Okay.
because they took this other approach, that's why they went with a different narrator here. The narrator is Frank Bull. He's a voice actor. He's only done like 10 things in his career, but I think they wanted someone who sounded more like a football TV announcer.
Okay.
Rather than like
Angry?
McLeish, who was like sophisticated. I feel like it wouldn't be the same. The praise for this one comes for its ability to playfully poke fun at football and its sort of chaotic nature of it.
It's very chaotic.
There's that bit in the beginning where like he briefly tries to explain the rules of football, and then the crowd just the cheering of the crowd just kind of overpowers him, so you don't actually like hear the rules of football.
Yeah.
Basically, kind of implying that the rules aren't even that important. It's just hard hitting and violent, and everybody loves it.
Well, it is kind of violent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also to note, this short would end up winning or being nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Short Subject, but lost to Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry's starting now. Mouse Trouble is what beat it. So is the mouse.
Where's the mouse? Started with a mouse.
Tom and Jerry.
Released September 15th, 1944, rated TVG with a runtime on Disney Plus of 8 minutes and 53 seconds. Directed again by Jack Kinney. Animation by George Nicholas, Norman Tate, Marvin Woodward, and Andy Engman. And voice work again, Pinto Colvig, but this time Frank Bull is our narrator. We open up with a brief explanation of the game of football, the equipment used, and all the people involved in the game. So they bring out the vendors, the managers, the mascots, the photographers, the sports writers, the doctors, the bands, the coaches, the old grads, and the two teams in brilliant uniforms. Did you get all that? Mm-hmm. Good.
Doctors, brilliant uniforms, mascots.
Yeah, the uniforms came out. Today's game is between Taxidermy Tech and Anthropology A&M.
Yeah, taxidermy, what the hell? Do you know what taxidermy is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stuffing dead animals?
Yes.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And the anthropology is
I don't
Bones?
know. I just know the store.
yes.
Isn't anthropology the study of,
Yes.
Yeah.
like, what?
Dead people?
I thought animals.
Bones, right?
Or bones? Is it bones?
I don't know.
They think of the bones.
No,
Fossils?
that's
archaeology.
Archaeologists. Shit.
That's a
Anthropology.
different school.
Same thing.
No.
Yeah.
That's
Anthropology.
archaeology A&M.
Yeah. Wildlife?
Anthropology is the study of the origin and development of human societies and cultures.
Okay, so...
Oh.
Well, Taxidermy Tech is in red.
Okay.
Anthropology A&M is in blue. This is where we get the explanation of the game. We don't hear the rules. The announcer's drowned out by the crowd. And the game begins. The opening kickoff is underway. The kickoff is returned by Swivel Hips Smith, who is an all-star, all-American for Taxidermy Tech. By the way, all the names in this short are the names of various members of the production crew.
Oh.
So Swivel Hips Smith, that's Claude Smith. He's an animator.
Why do they call him swivel hips?
His hips are just out of control.
They swivel.
It's hip.
He get a hula hoop.
That's right. DeGrady is Don DeGrady, another animator. Sibley, John Sibley. Nordberg is Cliff Nordberg. And my favorite, Butterfingers Moose Williams, is Roy Williams, who was nicknamed the Big Mooseketeer.
Okay.
and Big Roy because of his height and size.
But why Butterfingers?
Maybe he
He's
likes Butterfingers.
kinda
Well, I'm
classy.
just saying, like, are they, like, so the swivel hip thing, like, is that for the shorts specifically, or do they, in the studio, call this man Swivel Hip?
No,
I mean, after this, they probably call him Swivel Hips, but
they probably did now, but I think for the short, because Butterfingers drops a ball, he muffs it, so I think that's why they call him Butterfingers Moose.
I think it's cute that they did that.
Yeah, that is
They
cute.
like named them after.
I love that nickname, the Big Mooseketeer. That's
Big
awesome.
Mooseketeer.
Moose.
Swivel Hip Smith ends up returning the opening kickoff for 105 yards and a touchdown right off the bat for Taxidermy Tech, so that they're up 7-0. On the next kickoff, Anthropology A&M ends up fumbling the ball, and it's recovered again by Taxidermy Tech, so they get the ball back on offense. On the next kickoff, Anthropology A&M...
Time out. She was saying about the backs of the jerseys.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
it
okay,
looks
go.
like the photographs. So, like, you ever see the photographs of, like, the back of the football players? Like,
Yeah.
like it looks like that.
Oh.
And I don't know if that's, like, a famous thing or, like, a nod to something famous.
Didn't even think of that. You might be onto something there, though.
Oh,
I thought they just didn't want to show all the, like, hit, like,
Maybe.
the stupid play.
All the
Just,
concussions.
whatever.
Yeah.
This ain't important, this ain't important, this ain't important. Oh, touchdown.
Or
Yeah.
maybe the animators were just lazy and they didn't want to animate it.
Oh, that could be.
Could be that.
Lame.
We see, okay, so Taxidermy Tech has the ball back on offense after the fumble. We see the two teams line up in formation for the next play, shifting and getting into position. Before Taxidermy Tech snaps the ball, he hands it off to the running back who gets 8 yards. The announcer says, "What a smart quarterback," or "What a smart boy," I think is what he said, which is important because on the next play, the quarterback snaps the ball again. He slaps his lineman on the ass, which he did not appreciate that
Yep.
lineman. He yelped out in horror. So when he screams in terror, the quarterback, barks orders for the next play. And the running back, this time he stopped for a 9-yard loss, and the announcer says, "What a dumb quarterback." Just outwardly insulting him on the broadcast. As a player is carted off the field on a gurney, presumably to his untimely death, the announcer explains to the spectator that football may appear rather rough at times, but in reality, it's a character-building game. Anyone got thoughts on that? Do you agree?
That football's a character building game?
Yeah. Keep in mind, we're seeing a player carted off to their presumed death.
No, I think that football's really, especially back then, very, like, physical and injury prone.
Yeah, I don't play like that today anymore, right?
The practice builds the character, not the games. The games are
Yeah.
brutal, the practice builds the character.
And they didn't even have real helmets.
Or pads. for that
Yeah.
matter.
Leatherheads. Yeah.
Leatherheads, right.
They literally were just, like, out there, just basically commando, I mean, by today's standards.
Wish.
Yeah.
It's 3rd and 11 now, and the offense hands the ball off to DeGrady, who hands the ball off to Gershwin, then to Sibley, but it's a fake. The players run all around the field trying to figure out who actually has the ball, and literally everybody on Anthropology A&M dogpiles on top of one poor Taxidermy Tech player, burying him deep below the surface, presumably to his death as well. Penalty is called, though, but it's against Taxidermy Tech.
That's what
I
Michael
was
said.
like, wait, on the offense?
15 yards for unnecessary roughness, but
They piled on him.
the player's literally buried into the ground, like deep. He's dead.
Right.
Like, how is that unnecessary roughness on him?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's supposed to satirically show the,
The refs suck.
okay, yeah, that's putting it way nicer than I was gonna say. I mean, way
The
meaner.
inconsistency of refs'
Yeah.
calls.
Yeah, like how they're not great.
That's actually a good point that I didn't realize until you said that. So it's 4th and 26 for Taxidermy Tech. They elect to punt the ball away to Anthropology. But when they do, they fumble the ball because this time a bunch of flashes from cameras go off.
While he's on the field trying to catch it.
They think they give him some space, but
Yeah,
no,
right?
they blind him.
Listen, those paparazzi don't give a fuck.
They're everywhere. It blinds him, and the ball hits him in the face, and it's just on the ground for anyone to pick up. The ball spurts all over the field with everybody struggling to pick it up. And then finally, in the end zone,
Like a 99-yard fumble recovery.
the ball made its way to the other end zone, and Nordberg, who's the guy who was blinded,
Picks
he
it up.
stumbles his way into the end zone, and he just blindly picks it up for the touchdown.
Yeah.
But the extra point is blocked. This would be key for later in the game, because now it is only 7-6. If they made a mistake here because they said Anthropology A&M is going to receive, but it's actually Taxidermy Tech, and they're getting the ball back. Their first play from the 25-yard line is a pass, but it's intercepted this time, and he throws the quarterback for the team throws a bullet that bounces off of all his receivers' heads,
and then through the hands of the last one.
Yeah, and it's intercepted, and it's like that rug animation where the field gets all the way bunched up, and it ends up being a touchdown for Anthropology A&M as well. So it's 12-7 now.
Wow.
They go for the extra point.
It's in. It's not. It's in.
Yeah,
it's not.
The ball balances on the goalpost.
And then they give 12.5 points.
Because the referee fires his gun, which, by the way, they don't have guns on the field anymore. They keep them off the field.
Mean
and the play clock don't continue as an extra point either.
No, well...
Right?
No, it would...
The play clock doesn't continue for extra points.
That's right, it stops.
Right,
Yeah, so there's really...
So the half should have been over before,
The referee fires his gun. The bullet pops the ball on the goalpost. So the officials get together and they decide to award half a point. So the score is now 12.5 to 7, which is not... No, you can't get half points in football.
Kobe's like, oh my god, I hate this life
Put me
right now.
down, put me down, put me down.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he's going to freak out on you. Get me out of here.
Cleo lets me pick her up, Kobe.
I'm not Cleo.
Okay, so now it's halftime. The halftime entertainment is a form of goofy cheerleaders for Taxidermy Tech. They inadvertently knock each other senseless, kicking and punching each other in the head. In the locker room, the coach, who's a master of confidence, goes over what's been wrong so far, and his method of doing is just, you're wrong. You're the reason we're losing.
And they're just laying there. They're all resting, with their eyes closed,
they
laying
go
down.
Home. They're done. They don't care anymore. The announcer informs us that to prevent overconfidence, he shames them. An aspect that's missing from today's game. There's no more shaming in football. Threatening, then pleading, a saint and a devil.
Yep.
This coach is going through a lot at halftime to get his
a lot
team.
of emotions.
Yeah. The second half starts and Swivel Hip Smith is back in the game. I don't know if we mentioned that, but the coach took him out after the first play because he wanted to save him and not, he doesn't want him to get hurt. But he puts him back in the game.
Well, they were never on offense again, were they?
Because the fumble on the next play.
Right.
Oh, well, yeah, he wasn't on the kickoff, so I guess you're right. This time, Swivel Hip Smith returns another kickoff almost all the way, but he is crushed at the 5-yard line by the other team. And he, too, is taken out on a gurney, presumably to his mortality and his death as well.
His demise.
Damn.
The players are all mourning him, too, as he's being carted away. They're all crying because they know that...
Because he's the best.
Yeah. The momentum has turned in A&M's favor as the coach for taxidermy desperately tries to revive his player on the sideline. He's giving him CPR, trying to get a pulse out of him. And time is running out. The whole half has gone by, apparently. We're at the end of the game. Taxidermy only has time for one more play. And Swivel Hip Smith has a heartbeat, but he's clearly, out on his feet.
Yeah.
Which... They just throw his ass back on the field, even though he's clearly...
They shove him on there, and he's, falling over himself.
Let me tell you, this is, the most realistic part of this short with football. He's, out on his feet. He has no business being out there. And they're just go, get out there. Win us the game. So, they snap the ball to Smith, and his teammates basically, they just shove him in the right direction. They just say, go that way. And while he's, drunkenly stumbling all over the field, they take out everybody on the field. They block, and there's just piles of body just laying everywhere.
You know what he needed? Some high quality H2O.
Oh, he needed the water from
a glacier.
Yeah,
From the glacier. Yeah.
That's right. Would have popped right back up, or some sniffing salts at least.
Yeah,
would have gone back in. As he drunkenly makes his way to the goal line to score the winning touchdown, one A&M player manages to regain his consciousness and chases him down the field. Smith is at the goal line without crossing it, and in his twilight-like stage, he manages to avoid the diving tackle from A&M, causing that player to crash into one side of the goalpost. It swings all the way around and just kind of carries him by his ass into the end zone. And that's the game-winning score. So Taxidermy Tech wins by a final score of 13 to 12.5.
Half a point.
Half a point. If they were betting on this game, usually half a point is how you avoid a tie, but there would be a tie in this one.
Yeah.
The announcer says that the real credit goes to the coach. It's his clear thinking and calm, level-headed reasoning that makes football the great game it is today. And as he's saying all this, the coach is clearly in a crazy state. His eyes, he's babbling.
Doesn't he get taken away?
They put him in a straitjacket. They bring him to the loony bin.
Things they could never do today.
Yeah, and that's how the short ends.
I didn't like this one.
You didn't like it?
No.
I like this one because I thought, from an entertainment standpoint, I thought it had the best jokes in it.
Yes.
Like visually.
Yes.
I liked it better than like the fishing one, and I think I like the baseball one better than this one. But I don't know. It just
This one was definitely more like chaotic.
Yeah.
And I just watching it found it to be, like, I didn't lose interest in this one when watching
I
it.
just
Like there was a
didn't-
lot going on. I feel like.
I just didn't feel like if somebody really wanted to learn how football worked, I don't think it was very instructional.
No, I don't think
True.
you.
Well,
yeah.
I think safe to say if you were trying to learn any of these things, this would not be the right how-to
Go-to.
video to watch. You should
Yeah.
find how to play football for dummies, not goofies.
Yeah,
How to play.
So really, they were unsuccessful in what they were set out to do.
they were.
So this was a big failure.
It was.